Okay, hi, morning everyone. I am Joshua, Service Manager from Schindler Lifts, and today I'll be talking about our remote monitoring solution, also called Schindler Hit. This is actually also in line with what BCA is doing with Singapore, that we're looking to actually digitalize the FM sector, bringing these new technologies to actually push the sector forward. So what RM&D is, or Remote Monitoring and Diagnostics, is actually specifically to gather the data in real time, analyze it, and then actually diagnose and predict issues even before they happen. And as Ishan mentioned, with the number of lift technicians actually retiring in the coming years, we're hoping to increase the productivity and also the efficiency of our existing manpower, and this will actually really help our built environment. Okay, so this is an overview of our remote monitoring system. So you look at your left-hand side there, right? We have our remote monitoring device, and this is actually what we call the cube. So we connect this to our elevator controller, which is like the brain of the elevator. Then all the raw data from the lift actually goes over to our cloud platform where we perform the analysis. And after that, the data, once it's analyzed, it goes to our technicians, and also to the customer side, you can actually view the summary of this analysis. So in this way, all the parties are informed, and actually everyone can have the data for analysis and also intervention. So I've got a video here that is actually more illustrative of what we're doing. So when we put this in your building, right, actually there is no difference from the point of view of the elevator user. Actually, all this is done on the back end, and all the analysis is done behind the scenes. So okay, over here, we can see that the system actually monitors a variety of parameters, things like the major parts, doors, speed, the weight, and so on. And all these parameters, right, actually go to our cloud where it is analyzed for any sort of faults. So you can see in this example here, we have these three things: motor temperature, current, and also the door cycles. And how our system works is that we have a huge baseline of what is normal, and because we know what is normal, then we know what is abnormal. So in this case, you see the top two parameters are actually having some abnormalities. So what we do with this is that you can see that we have all this data from all the buildings, not just in Singapore, but actually around the world. All this will go to our technical operations center, where we have a team of experts actually looking at this, and they can actually see what's happening, and they can actually decide over then, okay, do we want to intervene before a breakdown happens? So in this way, we can actually predict issues and proactively intervene, and the philosophy is quite different. It goes from being reactive to a bit more proactive in this way, and hopefully the aim of this is to reduce the number of breakdowns and increase the lift availability. Okay, so specifically for this scenario here, the team has actually detected that there is an issue, and in this way, the data will go to our technicians. So Schindler specifically, we've kind of moved into the 21st century. All our technicians actually get a smartphone or a handphone that sends all the data to them. So when they go onto site, right, they get all this data, things like the data history, and also recommended actions that the system will send to them. So in this way, the maintenance is guided. It's guided by the algorithms, and it's guided by the system. And over here, you see that actually on the customer side, which is facilities managers, they also get the summarized data in an easy-to-read form. So in this way, it's a lot more convenient for everyone, and also everyone is more informed of what's happening with the equipment. Okay, so as was mentioned earlier, the current regulations state that actually the maintenance has to be done on a monthly basis. With this remote monitoring system, BCA has approved for the lift to be maintained on a quarterly basis, once every 3 months, and together we add on the ad hoc proactive interventions. So you see here, this is what we have currently. So for example, for a 6-month interval, we have it every month from January to June. With monthly maintenance, quarterly maintenance, you would have 2 of these fixed dates every 3 months, and in between we would have these ad hoc proactive interventions. So in this way, we don't just go based on an arbitrary date. The system will actually tell us, okay, are there issues now? And if there is an issue now, we can actually go in to intervene proactively. And so in this way, it's a lot more targeted, and it's a lot more efficient. So we've actually partnered with JTC. This has been a bit of a long-running partnership between Schindler and JTC. And we have 37 lifts in Fusionopolis. 37 lifts in Fusionopolis and 16 lifts in the Woodlands industrial site. Okay, so it is these 2 sites. And we have actually been trialing this as part of the regulatory sandbox with both BCA and JTC. Okay, so for the performance evaluation of this, the JTC has actually developed a set of KPIs for the RM&D, and these were actually calculated monthly with a quarterly review of the performance indicators. And then the payments to us were calculated on a quarterly basis. So all this was also calculated and submitted by our side, and also cross-verified by JTC. So we also had regular meetings with JTC to actually refine and also review all these KPIs. And then basically, this was a bit of a two-way dialogue between us and JTC. So they were also able to and open to amending these calculations, based on what we saw on the ground and operationally. So I'll just quickly run through these KPIs that JTC set for us. Long story short, all these are actually basically looking for us to see how we can improve the performance of the lift. So things like the availability, out of all the total runtime, what percentage of the time were the lifts available? The technical breakdown rate, which is basically number of breakdowns in a month, and then also the restoration time for technical breakdowns, what is the time between breakdowns, and also how accurate our system was in detecting all these breakdowns. So this is our data actually for the Fusionopolis site. And across all the metrics, you can actually see a bit of an improvement. So for example, availability was 99.7, and after installation of the system, it was actually 99.83%. So we are already quite close to 100%, but even with this system, we've seen a much bigger improvement in the availability. The number of technical breakdowns has also been reduced, and also our breakdown detection accuracy is quite high. So, so far with our system, we've been able to detect about 80% of all the breakdowns. And I should emphasize that actually as we connect more and more units to our system, right, because how machine learning works is that the more data you have, the more accurate the predictions and the more accurate the analysis gets. So in total, Schindler has about more than 1 million units worldwide. Schindler has actually rolled this out not just in Singapore, but in places like Switzerland, Germany, Europe, US, UK, and so on. So we are connected to not just a Schindler data set in Singapore, but also a global data set. And in this way, actually, the analysis is really a lot more efficient than just a small size in Singapore. So in summary, actually, the RM&D results, in our case, in about a 10 to 20% improvement in this manpower productivity. And the savings were actually co-shared between JTC and Schindler. And actually, as we continue to scale this up in Singapore, we anticipate there can be further savings from this manpower lean maintenance and also value add for the technicians, as I mentioned earlier. And then actually we can elevate the performance of the lift assets. All right, thank you. And any questions?